Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at the complete guide to printing in Excel. Now, it sounds simple enough, but for those of you that have already done that, you'll know it can be hell, alright? Printing with Excel is going to be always difficult because Excel is not designed for that. Excel is designed for being a spreadsheet. Excel is designed for showing numbers and formulas and being interactive. But once you want to set it all on paper, it's going to be difficult. We're going to be looking at how to adjust margins, how to do headers, how to do footers, and how to make sure that everything fits within your pages. Or at least make sure that you know how many pages it's going to take. Now, guys, we're going to be looking at how to print a loan amortization schedule, an invoice, a letter, and a full-fledged dashboard. Now, we're going to lose a lot of functions because, well, Excel is one thing, paper is another. And printing is always difficult, so make sure that you understand it and make sure that you avoid printing if at all possible. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, let's get started. We're going to be looking at how to print 4 different kinds of documents, and we're going to finish with printing this dashboard. Now it's going to look complicated in how to print it, but after we're done with the other 3, you're going to be masters at printing. All right, so let's get started. The first thing that we're going to be printing right here is this loan amortization table, and we are going to be working with how to actually make it fit into a page, because that is our main problem when printing with Excel. Now, printing with Excel can be hard because it's not like Word, where you actually just get, you get the blank pages and you know how they're going to look like, right? In Excel, you have this vast white canvas that you can just draw your formulas on, and then you'll figure out later how to print. So in order to actually look at how we can print with Excel, there's several ways to go about this. First and foremost, you have to know that page layout is going to be the tab that you're going to be using the most for this. All right, so page layout is going to become your best friend for now. Now, next, if you head over to File and you head over to Print, that's where you can get a preview, a proper preview of how it's going to look in the final page, all right? If you print and it doesn't look like this, then the problem is with your printer and I can't help you. All right, guys, another way to get there is pressing Ctrl P, all right? Ctrl P, as in Papa, actually opens this, this window as well, all right? So, with that said, let's get started. First thing that we have to figure out is the problems that we have here. We have 1 out of 33 pages, all right? So it's telling me that this little loan amortization schedule is going to be printed in 33 pages. Why? All right. So for starters, we're looking at the first page is going to finish right here in extra payment. So it's column F. We have everything from G to L missing. All right, guys? So if I were to start cycling through this, I'm going to see that I get a bunch of empty pages with just titles and nothing else. And then once I'm in page 12, I get back to looking at the other half of my file. But I notice it's an incomplete half because now it's finishing column 1. And if I cycle again to 20-something, 23, then I get the last part of the file, all right, the cumulative interest. So this is weird, all right? This is weird. How can we go about solving that? Well, we're going to make a ton of adjustments here, and at the end, we're going to be able to print it in just one file, all right? So the first thing that I want you to notice is that we have a bunch of extra stuff that we don't need. And notice how we have formulas here that are hidden. We have the formula right here in the formula bar, but the cell is empty. So what gives? All right, they're there. Those formulas are there in order to anticipate, say, for example, an extra number of payments. Now, you don't need to know anything about finance, but notice how those formulas are there for when I add, 72 payments, then we get the extra formulas, all right? Now, I don't need them right now. So what I'm going to do is press Ctrl-N on my keyboard, and it's going to take me over to the last cell that has formulas, all right? I am in L371, and if I go one further down, then that's it, all right? We don't have any more formulas. All right, guys, so what I'm going to do is, once I'm here, I'm going to try to select everything on the way up, all right? I'm going to select every single cell on my way up, and then I'm going to select all of the rows. Now, the easiest way to select the rows is by pressing Shift and Space, all right? And press it again, you select the entire rows. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click here and delete those rows. All right. So I right clicked and deleted. Why did I do that? I could have used them. Yeah, probably. But since I'm already printing, I'm already confident of my final file. All right. I'm already confident of my final file. Plus, I can always add the formulas back later. Now, once I do that, let's go back to Control P. Notice how I'm down to 3, all right? Just 3 pages. So by removing all of the fluff, all of the empty space that actually was using up space, I eliminated 30 pages of print. Now I'm down to 3. All right, now what can I do in order to reduce those 3 pages to 1? Well, first and foremost, what we could do is reduce the size of the columns, all right? The columns are just too wide. Say, for example, column F. I have all of this real estate right here, and I just needed to fit the word extra payment. That's it, all right? So I don't need that much real estate. So I'm going to do something that's going to reduce the columns to its minimum size. The smallest size possible where the titles still fit. So what I'm going to do is select everything right here, select every single column over here. If you're wondering how I did it, I just press Ctrl Shift and to the right. And then I am going to press Ctrl Space and Ctrl Space again. That selects all of the columns, all right? So Ctrl Shift and to the right, Ctrl Space and Ctrl Space again, that selects the entire columns. Now, why do I want the entire column selected? Because now I can do the auto adjust thing in Excel, all right? Where the columns are going to be adjusted to the correct width, all right? So let's come over here, press double click on any column width, and there we go. We have our columns already adjusted. Now, guys, one thing that is important here to notice is that it did most of our job for us, and it did a good job. But column B, we need to adjust manually, all right? Because payment number is the only phrase that we need to fit, all right? And it's taking up a lot of real estate. So I'm going to just reduce column B. And notice how I fit payment number. I fit payment number there, whereas loan amortization schedule actually fit as well, because there's nothing in C, D, or E that's actually blocking its path, all right, guys? So that's it. We're good to go on that one. Let's press Ctrl P. And notice we're almost there. Now we're down to two pages right here, all right? We still have 3 columns over here that we need to add, modify, or remove. All right, guys, notice how I have here something called column 1, and it's empty, all right? So if I don't need column 1, then I can just sort of get rid of it. And by sort of, I mean actually get rid of it. So I'm just going to select the entire column 1, right-click on column K, and delete it, all right? And there we go. I've deleted column K. Now, let's press Ctrl P. I'm still down to 2, but I just have 2 extra columns, all right? I just have 2 extra columns. So what can we do about that? Well, there's several ways to fix that. I'm going to show you 2, all right? The first one is going to be pretty automated, and the second one is going to be a manual way of doing the same thing. I'm going to go over to Ctrl P, and then I am going to move down here to where it says no scaling. Now the scaling part is a part where Excel is going to try to fit everything automatically into one single page. I'm going to click here and tell it to fit all columns, fit all of the columns in one page, all right? Now when I click on it, notice how everything becomes smaller, but I'm down to just 1 page. Be careful when you do the scaling on 1 page, guys. Excel is going to fit anything you care to give it, including files with hundreds of columns. Now, it's going to become smaller. And if it probably, I mean, sometimes it becomes so small that it's going to print, but you're not going to be able to distinguish any single one of the letters, not even with a magnifying glass, all right? So make sure that you already did all of your adjustments previously in Excel, and this is your final step, all right? And this becomes your final step. Now, when I tell it to fit all of the columns in 1 page, it's going to try to fit just the columns, and it's not going to care about the rows, all right, guys? So even if it adds more rows, and that's what we're going to be adding later, even if we add more rows later, it's just going to care about the columns. The rows, they can go in 2, 3, 4 pages. All right, guys, let's check that out. I'm going to go back here to my Excel, and I'm going to add, say, for example, 72 scheduled payments, and expand this to include aforementioned 72 payments. All right. So let's get back here, up and up. And well, it stops at 31 for some reason. I don't care. This is the final finance class. So let's remove everything that we don't need. All right. So we have 31 payments. If I press Ctrl P, then notice how, because I fit all the columns in 1 page, it's going to fit 29 lines of my amortization schedule, and the other 2 lines are going to be here. All right, guys? Now, here's the thing I could do. I could try and tell it fit the whole sheet in one page, and now it fits the entire sheet in one page. All right, guys? Or go back to fitting all of the columns. Notice how when I go back to fitting all of the columns, it goes back to 2 worksheets. Now, I'm going to teach you how to do this manually. This is Excel doing it its own. But say, let's go back to no scaling, and it's going to try and print it in 4 pages. Now, guys, notice that we have 3 icons down here, all right? Now, this is normal view that we are accustomed to. This is the page layout view. I'm going to skip that for now. And this is the page break view. Now, this is where we are interested in because this is where we're going to be adjusting stuff manually. Notice that when we click here, we get this view over here where the dotted lines represent where the page finishes, all right? So page number 1, I know you can see a watermark right here. Page number 1 ends upon these dotted lines, all right? Now, this right here is what's going to show up in page 2, page 3, and page 4. The watermarks here are a little bit more complicated to look at, but if you squint, you'll see it. All right, guys. So let's select our dotted line here, click on it, and without releasing the mouse, you can drag it to include everything that you want to print. So I'm going to drag it to include both J and K columns, all right? And now we have page 1 and page 2. Now I'm going to click on it and drag it down here, and it's going to include everything in page 1. So I already adjusted everything, and when I press Ctrl P and go back here, notice how it all fits in one simple amortization schedule. Guys, one of the things that I do want you to know is why is this useful? Why wouldn't I just go over to Ctrl P and fix this right here? Well, because it allows you to do custom scaling, as the name implies. All right, guys? And custom scaling allows you to say, well, I want page 1 to look like this, and page 2 to look like this, and page 3 to look like this, and so on, and so on, and so on. All right? So with that said, we are done with this amortization schedule. You could actually print this in your own computer at home, and you just get it exactly like it shows up here. All right, guys? All right, I know the ending balance is giving you fits, so let's make it a little bit wider, and there we go. All right, guys, now the ending balance fits, and notice how it's still the same amortization schedule that we know and love. All right, guys. Now, next, invoice. All right, so here's a sample invoice. Again, this comes from a template, and we really don't care about the invoice and the financials here. We just care about printing this invoice. So let's go back here. Let's press Ctrl P, and notice that the invoice right here, when I pressed Ctrl P, it wasn't going to fit anyway. I have 4 worksheets, okay? So the first thing that we want to make sure with the invoice is, notice how it's aligned. This is probably more better oriented for a portrait orientation, all right? Not for landscape orientation. So let's go over here to Ctrl P and make sure that it's in portrait, all right? This little button right here can modify to portrait or landscape, all right? Landscape is useless to us, portrait is a little bit better. Now, if I don't want to move that from, if I don't want to change that setting from over there, I can go over here to page layout and change it from here in orientation, portrait or landscape, portrait or landscape, all right, guys? Notice how when I change the orientation, the dotted lines over here, they change, all right? These dotted lines, they are going to represent where one sheet ends and the next one begins. Now, guys, notice that these dotted lines, they're different from the ones that we had here, all right? These ones are gray and these ones are blue. The blue ones, I can drag. The gray ones, they're just there. They're just there to inform me of what's going on. All right, guys. So how can I make this one fit? It's really simple. No adjustments, no adjustment needed. Just go over here to scaling, select fit all columns in one page, and voila, we have our invoice here, and it's ready to go. So guys, with that done, well, we're done there. All right, guys. So let's move on. Next up, letter. All right. So excuse the Spanish, I did a half-baked attempt at translating that one, and this letter is something that's a very special case in Excel, because mostly if you want to print letters, I hardly recommend that you do it using this little program called Word. All right, guys, that's what it was invented for. But sometimes you just need to print in Excel. All right, guys. Most likely because the letter is being generated by a Visual Basic macro or whatever. Sometimes you just need to print in Excel. All right, so let's go right ahead and try to fix that. If I press Ctrl P from here, notice how it's already set to portrait orientation and the letter fits just fine within here, all right? So there's no adjustment I need to do, no scaling, nothing at all. However, it looks really empty, all right? So what can I do here? Well, the thing that I want to show you with the letter is this page layout button that I skipped before, all right? So when I press the page layout button, notice how I get my, notice how it looks exactly as if it would in Word, where I get the page breaks exactly well delineated, and I can add a header and a footer, and that is the most important part with the page layout view. All right, guys? So usually I get asked to send this letter with a company logo and the address and everything. So in order to add a company logo, I just click on one of these three boxes, preferably one to the left, and I'd start typing here. But notice how as soon as I click here, I open this design tab. This design tab is going to show me every single thing I can insert. So the first thing that I can insert is the picture, all right? So let's browse, select the picture from a file. I'm going to grab my Spanish logo and I'm going to click insert. Now, it's just going to say picture here, and we're not going to see a picture until I grab my mouse and click on any other cell, all right? Any cell within my spreadsheet, and notice that the picture is going to show up. However, it shows up like really big. So what I'm going to be doing is getting back here and changing the file, changing the picture format. The height, instead of 11 centimeters, it's going to be 3 centimeters, all right? That's about 1¼ inches. So let's press OK, and notice how the logo became a little bit smaller, all right? Now I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to start typing in data that I want to be included, in the header. So it's going to be called Hector Berlioz 5691. That's the name of my street, and we are located in Guadalajara, Mexico, all right? And you can find us at +52 331 422 8039, all right? That's usually what I get asked for when adding letterhead to my documents, all right? So for you to actually see our changes in action, I just come again and click on any cell, and notice how I get this header right here, all right? Now, when I click on cell A5, it's going to seem as if I am selecting my address, but no, I can't affect it, all right? That's part of the header. It's not going to change at all. All right, guys. Now, one thing that I want to note, when you go back to Excel, the header disappears, all right? It's gone. But here, it shows up. Back in Excel, it disappears. And when I press Ctrl P, the header is there, all right? So you can be sure it's going to print just as it is shown right here. But back in Excel, it's not going to show up unless you go over to page layout, all right, guys? Now, once you're in page layout, I can add more stuff. So say, for example, I click on the box right here to the right, and I can add, say, for example, the time and date, all right? The time and date. Press any cell, here we go. All right, guys, now let's get down here to add footer. Once we're in the footer, it works the exact same way as the header. Just click on it, go to design, and select what you want to add, or just type in what you want to add. There are several pre-made footers, say, for example, this one right here, that I can add, that show me several items. So say, for example, I add confidential, the date, and the page number, and it should add the footer. Yeah, here we go. Confidential, date, and page number. Just have a little patience, all right, guys? Now, the interesting part about headers and footers is that if I were to add more items to the spreadsheet that, say, for example, they merit an entirely new page. So, hello, this is here so we can waste paper and kill trees. Die, Mother Earth. Okay, so these couple of lines, they're going to guarantee that we print on 2 pages, all right? But the interesting part is that notice that this second page here with my little love poem to nature is going to show up with a header and a footer, all right? And if I press Ctrl P, I'm going to look at the header and the footers and get them here as well, all right? And it says page 2. So guys, that's how you add header and footer when it comes to printing. All right, last but not least, we have the dashboard. All right, guys. Now, I'm pretty much just here to let you know about the bad news. The good news is that this dashboard is interactive, and every time that you select an area and a depot, you can look at the numbers for that area and that depot. All right, guys. Now, this is something that usually wows my students, and we learn how to build this both in the online course and in the classroom course. But I've had students 5 times ask me whether I can print this dashboard and have the slicers work. All right. And the answer is sadly no. All right. It's Excel, not magic. There's no way you can make the slicers work on paper. However, what if we wanted to print this thing? All right. Well, we'd have to combine everything that we've already done with their previous 3 documents. All right. So let's go over to Control P and we'll figure out it doesn't work, plus the slicers look like crap. All right. So the first thing that you want to do when you're printing stuff is get rid of the slicers. All right. They're not going to be any good for you on paper, and they're going to look like crap when printed. So, all right, they're gone. Second, this is probably going to be better in a landscape orientation. So let's go over to page layout, change orientation to landscape. All right, guys. And finally, I am going to make it fit. So let's head over to page break view and move our lines to make sure that they fit. All right, there we go. Everything fit in page 1. Let's press Ctrl P, and there we go. Our dashboard is fitting in page 1, and it's entirely available in a landscape view. All right, guys. Last but not least, say for example, I could add a header right here. So I could insert, I don't know, the company logo, sign, insert, picture. Let's add the exact same logo again. And remember, you have to adjust the size with the format picture. Right, so let's do it 2.5 centimeters. That's just almost exactly 1 inch. And there we go. Looks a little bit wonky, but I mean, orange and green, they don't get along. But we have right here the company logo, and we have the dashboard ready to print. All right, guys, remember, it's not interactive, so it's going to show up with whatever you have there. Now, definitely the 2 last items that I want to mention. Whenever we get back to Excel, notice how we get these little gray lines over here that show us where it's going to be printing, which is all fine and dandy when you're actually printing, but then you start working again in Excel like a normal person, and you want to get rid of those lines. And it's not easy, all right? Microsoft did not make it easy at all for us. So let's head over here to File, and let's head over here to Options. And then let's head over to Advanced Options. Yeah, that's how complicated it's going to be. All right, so it's File, Options, Advanced. And once you're in Advanced, you have to scroll down to Display Options for this worksheet, all right? Once you're here, you're going to tell it to stop showing page breaks, all right? So make sure that this little box here is unchecked. So once it's unchecked, press OK, and voila, you have the gray lines gone, all right? If you want them back for this particular worksheet, yeah, you have to go back here to File, and you have to go back here to to Options, and Advanced, and turn that little checkbox on again. Just remember, it's right here in Display Options for this worksheet. All right, guys? So, with that said, last but not least is a lot of people don't print on paper, but they do save to PDF, all right? Now, saving to PDF carries the exact same problems as printing, and it carries the exact same solutions. If it fits on a printed sheet of paper, I mean, if it looks like this on your print preview, it's going to be saved like this as a PDF, all right? So as long as you can print properly, you can save to PDF properly. How do I go about saving to PDF? Easy. Let's go over here to File. Let's click Save As, and let's ask it to save as PDF. Click right here, go select PDF, and click Save. All right. And there we go. We have our PDF. This is Adobe Acrobat, and we can read it as PDF, all right? So the way it prints is the way it saves to PDF. Guys, with that, you're already masters at printing in Excel. You should be able to do it without that many frustrations. At least the Excel part is covered. The printer, yeah, that's something I can't help you with. Guys, remember, it's preferable that you don't print in Excel. Not because of any ecological considerations or anything. It's just because it's so frustrating. All right, guys? Well, with that said, we're done, and I hope you liked the video. Make sure that you like, subscribe, leave your comment, tell your friends, tell your parents, family, and everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Do you want to be an Excel god? Our online course will turn you into an Excel master in only 90 days. Excel is the most important tool in the office, but almost nobody knows how to use it. Most people dive right into Excel with no formal training and never use the right tools. And thus, they end up delivering messy reports that are full of mistakes, and they end up hating their jobs. In reality, Excel is really simple to use and can do your job for you, if you know how to use it. But you have to pick the right place to learn from, or you'll only end up more confused with all of the different tools and functions that Excel has to offer you. So, what can you do? Our Excel course is tailor-made for you. We're going to teach you Excel, all of Excel, using real-life examples. From simple exercises to full-fledged business case studies. Take the online course and you'll be an Excel god in only 90 days. The course consists in more than 45 lessons and 15 case studies, all with their detailed solutions completely recorded in video, and you're going to be able to access them whenever you want, whatever you want. Best of all, you're going to have lifetime access to the course, and you're going to get any of the updates that we're constantly putting out for free. Even better, when you get our course, you'll have free access to our full Visual Basic and Macros course, and also to our Power BI course, all with just one single purchase. More than 3,000 students have passed through our classrooms. We've attended companies like Kodak, IBM, Cemex, HP, Continental, DB Schenker, and more. So, if you want to absolutely master Excel, make sure that you sign up now. You will become an Excel guy. A2 Excel.